6 years of searching. Please let this be it. Whoa. Focus. Eyes forward, tuk-tuk.
Kelly Marie Tran is a Disney princess. Did you ever think it would happen?
I think I'd have to be delusional to think it would actually happen. But yeah, it's wild, and it's been an incredible journey. I'm really excited for people to meet Raya.
The Disney princess and the notion of what it stands for has evolved over the decades. My first question for you, super quick, is what was the one that you grew up loving the most? And the second question is, how do you think the Disney princess has evolved to this point?
I was 9 when Mulan came out, and love me not when. Yeah, so that movie meant a lot to me. And in terms of how I think the idea of a Disney princess is changing, I think when the original like classic Disney princess movies started coming out, there was a really narrow perception of what princesses looked like and spoke like and act like and dressed like. And now we're sort of in this period where I think Disney is really making an effort to sort of broaden what people think of when they think of the idea of princess, when they think of the idea of hero. And it's really cool to be part of that change, to recognize that we are, opening up the doors for people to realize that anyone can be a princess or a hero, regardless of what you look like or where you come from, and any of those other sort of specifics. Yeah.
Favorite Disney princess? Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to choose. I definitely loved Mulan, obviously, for those reasons. I really was obsessed with like the Lion King and like Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast was like I couldn't wait for that. And we actually just bonded over Kelly Marie. Kelly reminded me of this, of the spin-off of, what was it called? And I just remember, I watched it.
Beauty and the Beast, Enchanted Christmas.
Enchanted Christmas.
Great
and her Enchanted Christmas outfit.
Cinematic masterpiece, obviously.
Cinematic Return of Jafar as well.
Yeah.
Were you guys a little bit disappointed that there were no sort of musical numbers in this one? Were you guys ready to belt it out?
I love musicals, so obviously I would have loved for it to be a musical, but I think what it turned out to be and having it be an action movie is also equally awesome.
Yes.
What did you think of, Awkwafina, when you first saw the design of Sisu in both forms?
It's funny. I didn't see the human form until way later. So I actually just saw sketches of Sisu the dragon, and I just remember being like, "Wow, this is really cool," because I think that her design and her influences and what's gone into her makeup are make her really unique, and she's unlike any other dragons physically and also her personality. And the human form, it looks like me. I think we have like a similar smile, teeth.
Yeah.
Teeth. Yeah. Like every time the mouth, I'm like, it's talking to me. It's like looking at my, yeah. So it's cool.
What was it like for you, Kelly Marie, seeing Raya?
Crazy. Yeah, I just remember thinking that I'd never seen a princess that looked like her before. And it was really emotional. I think it's also associated with recognizing that, I get to be part of this and remembering the legacy of, gosh, how much Disney movies sculpted my childhood. So yeah, lots of emotions going on here, lots of feelings.
Oh, I love that. I also want to commend you both for making a movie during a pandemic. Never thought that would happen in anyone's career, but here we are doing an entire movie. What was that like? And were you guys able to help each other through the pandemic the last year as well?
We didn't work together that closely. Obviously, we did. Half the movie was filmed in lockdown, me and Kelly and I haven't really met so much. We haven't spent a lot of time in person. We've met at an event, but I feel like I've really gotten to know her over these press interviews, and I really love her.
I love you too, man. We love each other. Yeah. I was sad that we didn't get to really interact that much, but obviously, yeah, just a huge fan of everything Awkwafina, and now even more so just getting to know her over this crazy Zoom press situation. So hopefully once this is all over, we will hang out.
Yeah, hang out.
I hear you on that one. There were beautiful combat and action sequences in this movie. Again, with the singing question, but in this time, I want to talk about, you kind of gutted that you weren't able to do sort of your own stunts or get into the choreography of fighting.
Watching that movie and just seeing, and also I think what's really cool about the martial arts is the martial arts style that was used to inspire everything in this movie is specifically from Southeast Asia. One of our writers, Nguyen, is a martial arts expert, and he was very specific about wanting to make sure that it originated from this part of the world, which I just think is incredible. But yeah, I wish I could have done all that fighting stuff. That one part where I think Namari like grabs my neck with her legs and like flips me over. I'm like,
Yes.
dope. Yeah, cool.
And we were talking about the perfect pairings that we've seen in the Disney movies throughout the decades as well. And I wanted to know what your perfect pairing is in previous movies, but also who the best sidekick is as well. Like we're talking Olaf from Frozen, the carpet or the genie, or Apu from Aladdin, or Scuttle from The Little Mermaid. Which one's the best sidekick?
I don't think Scuttle is the best Sky sidekick. He often gives misinformation, and he you know when he's loyal, so that's good. What is the, I forgot his name. I'm so sorry. The bird from The Lion King. Zazu, I think was really underestimated. He was kind of seen as kind of like a uptight, you know, because he was really always trying to, you know, keep the schedule and whatnot. But I really think he really wanted to do Mufasa's, you know, do him right by taking care of his boy, you know. So I think he was a great sidekick. Yeah.
Everyone needs a Zazu. Okay. Structure and order. What about you, Kelly Marie?
I really like Timon and Pumbaa as a duo. So funny, and gosh, some of their lines I still remember. Like that part where they're trying to tempt the hyenas and Timon's like, "Oh, are you aching for some
bacon?"
Yeah. He's a big pig. You could be a big pig too. So good.
That was good.
You and the dragon are coming with me.
My sword here says we're not.
I would love to talk about Namari, because I think she's an amazing villain in the sense that usually a Disney villain is sort of inherently evil. They are bad and they want bad things. But in this instance, it seems like her intentions are truly well placed and she's not actually doing the evil thing. Is that what you really liked about Namari as a character?
Yeah, for sure. The thing I love about Namari is that she's not a straight out villain. You know, she is the antagonist and she is Raya's nemesis, but she and Raya are also two sides of the same coin. They've just been raised very, very differently, and been raised with very different philosophies and in terms of what they think the best thing is to do to keep themselves safe, to keep their own land safe. But yeah, Namari, she's badass. She's a fierce warrior, but she's also got, you know, a real heart underneath that bravado. And what she and Raya initially connect with as children is their mutual love of dragons, and that never leaves. So, despite the fact that Namari grows up to be this really quite tough, aggressive character, she's still got that little girl that she was. Is underneath it all. So yeah, all of that is really fun to play.
We're in a pandemic and production's definitely changed big time during that. A lot of this movie, if not the majority of it, was made from home. How was that for you?
Well, it's definitely been a challenging time to try and make a film. All I will say is it's an absolute credit to, you know, everyone involved in this film, you know, not just the cast, but primarily the directors, the animators, everyone kind of, you know, on the crew. I think there are like 450 cast and crew that have made this film respectively from their own homes. So it's a real kind of communal effort, and I feel so proud that we've been able to make this film during this very difficult time. I kind of made a makeshift studio downstairs at home, you know, putting stuff on the walls to try and clad the sound. But, you know, I've got really loud birds that chirp outside. So I would have to try and time saying my lines in between the kind of bird cheats. And yeah, all of these kind of challenges that you wouldn't have expected that kind of cropped up.
I want to talk about the evolution of a Disney princess. I don't know about you, but as a kid, I grew up on Aladdin, Little Mermaid, and I had this understanding of what a Disney princess was supposed to be. But with movies like Raya and the Last Dragon, we are really seeing the evolution of a Disney princess going in a whole new direction. What do you think about that sort of the evolution here that we're seeing?
You know, I grew up watching those films as well. And I think what's so exciting about Raya, and, you know, you saw it to some extent with Frozen as well, but you have, you know, female characters that very much have agency, and, you know, they're not waiting to be rescued. They are out there in the world pursuing what they want to pursue. And, you know, they're not perfect. They're not, you know, they're flawed. But, you know, they're fully rounded characters. And it's important for everyone watching, not just for girls, but for boys and girls to kind of see that.
I love it. Since you are a Disney fan and you know all about the beautiful, perfect pairings out there and the sidekick, I mean, we've seen the likes of Mushu from Mulan. We've got Olaf from Frozen, Genie from Aladdin. Which one is your favorite sidekick out there?
Oh my gosh. I'm a huge Lion King fan. So like Pumbaa. Yeah, come on. Yeah, he's got to be up there.
We need you to defeat the evil with the last of dragon magic.
I'm going to be real with you, all right? I'm not like the best dragon.
The first thing I want to talk about is this amazing evolution of the Disney princess that we've seen throughout the decades. Having grown up with Disney princesses, you know, I was very much obsessed with it all, but it's so fascinating just to see sort of like how you can flip the script on a Disney princess movie. So my first question for whoever wants to tackle this one is, how do you think that Raya has evolved in the terms of like the way the Disney princess has been seen?
I came from off of Moana and onto Raya and the Last Dragon, and I think this evolution has been ongoing. I think that the Disney princess has always been an aspirational character, and we look at her as the leader. On Raya, we literally spent some time thinking about, does she need to be a princess just because she's a hero? And we landed on yes, because we liked her having that sense of responsibility as a leader and to her people. And I think the princess is just like everything else, sort of reflects who we are. These are very personal films, and we all bring our sense of who we are. And for me, I come from Israel, from like a line of strong women. My friends are strong women. The friendships between women, we get to explore all of that in this movie. So to me, it's sort of a natural evolution because we were there to have that conversation, and the whole team was really into it.
And I would just add selfishly, as you know, someone who grew up in Southeast Asia, and like you know, having and enjoying and loving all the Disney princesses, I love that we have a new Disney princess that I can look at and that my daughter can look at and see herself reflected in her face. It's tremendous. And I think the bigger, you know, message, whether you're a little girl or a little boy in like Southeast Asia or anywhere in the world, that no matter what you look like or where you come from, that your face and your story is so much worth celebrating.
Talking about Southeast Asia, how was it building a lore around sort of encompassing all of that domain?
Well, we knew we wanted to tell a story that is about, you know, we looked around us and we're looking at how divided we all are and how we use our differences against each other rather than to come together and do something greater than, you know, than the sum of our parts. And we went on our first research trip to Southeast Asia. And one of the things that struck us everywhere we went, we're talking about a vast region, 11 countries, multiple cultures and traditions and religions. And everywhere we went, there was a sense of community and of people coming together for something greater than themselves. And so, and we already knew that we wanted to work with the Asian dragon. We were so drawn to the dragon of water and harmony and life. And so we came back and said, that's it. That's the inspiration is going to be from Southeast Asia. And so we started working with experts, with architects and anthropologists and textile masters to find what are the unifying elements and how can we apply those into the world of Kumandra, which is a completely fictional world. So it was this constant balance. But I'd say that a big important part of really doing the work was to have key members of our team being Southeast Asian, including Adele and queer co-writer and Fawn, our head of story, and many others. So that kind of lived experience permeates the film.
And I loved, like, when you touched upon these things that are so indicative of the culture, like the representation of food and how that is celebrated and how amazing that looked. And like coming from like a Ghibli fan, it was so amazing just to, you know, really honoring the the food in that. So that was great. And I also love, you know, exploring all the different locations and like the fishing boats and the transport. What was something that was super important to bring for you, Adele?
It's so funny. Well, you've already touched on one of those aspects, like the food. So I think it was two things. First, you know, the respect and the love for the inspiration. You know, there were all these little details, things that, you know, may not jump out to you on the screen, but, you know, how children are with their parents, how, you know, each person shows each other respect, the sign of the respect that we show, inspired by, you know, many hand gestures that of the different countries in Southeast Asia. And two, the food. So it starts from a place of like just visceral joy. If you know anyone from Southeast Asia, you know how obsessed we are with our food. And so, you know, it would be in the script, it would be, you know, with the Southeast Asian people in our story department and visual development and animators who get so excited by it and just lovingly render it. Because, you know, in the region, it's how people communicate love. It's how we bring people together. And there was also, you know, a larger message to it, which is just the country I come from, Malaysia. There's so many races, religions, like histories. It's easy to see these things as differences that divide us, you know, and make us view each other as the enemy. But truly, when you look at what's wonderful about our region and our country, the arts and our street food, the best street food in the world, it's because of these different influences that all, you know, help us make something transcendent. And so that's why you'll see, you know, food being used as a metaphor throughout the movie.
Yeah, I was salivating. It was amazing. I also have to commend the fact that this movie was made during a pandemic. I mean, we never thought that we'd have to work from home in this kind of capacity. What were some of the things you learned about sort of getting through a pandemic and still being able to make a movie?
Well, first of all, that it can be done, because if you would have asked me a year ago, just before we went into lockdown, I would have said, no, absolutely not. We cannot do this. And then when we went home and we thought we were going home for 3 weeks and we already, you know, wondered what it would do to our schedule. And it's been a year here. We're still in our first lockdown. And the technological issues, yeah, they were there, but we had an amazing technology team and they solved things really quickly. We were up and running and even dealing with everyone's bandwidth. Everyone, of course, had to deal with the kids going to school there in the back and their own questions. But I think for us, the biggest hurdle was cultural. We like to be in the room together, build on each other's ideas, throw out ideas, go get food, talk about it. And to learn how to do that without the happenstance of running into each other and having a coffee together. And in this kind of Zoom environment, it took us time, but also we realized you can only do it for so long. So we structured and disciplined our days so much more that we all ended up having, you know, dinner with our families, which we don't usually do during production. But more importantly, we realized that we had to trust each other more because we had to delegate more. And so there you were, the movie, living through the making of the movie during the pandemic, and the crew pulled through. I'm super proud of the crew of this movie.
We've been talking about the Disney sidekicks that we've seen throughout all the different movies as well. We've got two new ones here, I guess, with Sisu, who's kind of like reminding me of Aladdin, and then also Tuk Tuk, who's like sort of, I'm heavily inspired with like the Aladdin side of things here. But what would be your ideal sidekick out of all the Disney movies, whether it's Olaf from Frozen, out of all of them, who would you choose?
Oh, Tuk Tuk, hands down. Like, you know, and it's funny, you mentioned Sisu in that. Like for us, Sisu is more of a fully fledged character, that she's the best friend of Raya. But in terms of having the, you know, your buddy who's always with you through thick and thin, who never judges, and you never feel lonely because he's always there, Tuk Tuk. Because you can also ride him like a horse.
Exactly. Because then he'll still go 60 miles an hour and get you to where you need to go, like an off-road vehicle. So yeah. Twofer.
You can't trust anyone.
Maybe it's broken because you don't trust anyone.
Super excited about this one, mainly because we are exploring a whole new area when it comes to Disney princesses and unity and all these amazing themes. But I want to talk about the evolution of the Disney princess, because she has been changing over the decades, and Raya is like so formidable. And I wanted to hear from you. How did you land on not only this story, but Raya as a Disney princess?
Yeah, we're very proud of this character, and obviously it was a combination of so many things. But you know, first and foremost, I think we tended to. Obviously we were aware that she was a princess. She's the daughter of the chief, but I think, you know, if asked, I think Raya would identify more as a warrior, and specifically a guardian of the dragon gem. That was what she spent her entire childhood trying to be and becomes in the film. And then she becomes a guardian of an actual dragon as well. So I think we love that there's that duality to Raya, that she obviously can be in the pantheon of Disney princesses, but also, as a formidable warrior, formidable enough that she could be an Avenger, in our opinion. So, and that was the product of a lot of different things. I think, our desire to craft a character that was, obviously had the physicality that was necessary for an action adventure film, but also a sense of humor and a wit about her. I think we love that she's confident and at times overconfident, has a swagger, but also can be vulnerable and kind of pour her heart out at times. And so I think we're most in love with the fact that she's a nuanced, complex character. And then of course you add Kelly Marie into the mix and it becomes a whole nother ballgame. But ultimately, I think we're just very proud of this character, Raya.
Well, that was actually my next question. What was it about Kelly Marie Tran that you decided she was just perfect for the role?
I think a lot of it comes from what Don just spoke about, just the nuances that we wanted Raya to have as a character. She has some of the most heart-wrenching scenes that we've ever seen, but she also has some of the lighter, funnier moments we've ever seen, and she needs to be able to play next to Awkwafina, who is really fast on her feet and is really funny and really sharp, and Kelly did that. Not only that, but she has a really strong cultural connection to the world of our movie, and it meant a lot for her to represent the first Southeast Asian Disney princess, Disney heroine. So that was sort of on the surface level. But what was most incredible about having Kelly on is that she really connected to the movie, to the ideas of the movie, to thematic elements, and she became essentially an ambassador for Raya and the Last Dragon. She's been really going out there and showing off the pride that she feels to be connected to this movie, the pride that she feels in our team animation. She was so involved with her crew in every step of the way. She would interview them about what they're doing and really went the extra mile to really sort of become a part of this community that was putting the movie together. And actors, don't normally do that, sometimes because of time, sometimes because of interest, but Kelly really, really just sort of became a part of the family. And we honestly could not be more proud to have her leading this incredible package.
We've seen so many different types of dragons over the years as well. And the lore of the dragon in itself is amazing. How did you settle on the look for these dragons?
Well, the dragon on this one, usually when you're watching a big Hollywood film, most of the dragons are Western dragons that, breathe fire and often are like monsters that need to be vanquished to get to some sort of treasure. Since there's a movie that was highlighting Southeast Asian cultures, the dragon that we wanted to spotlight was one that was from the region, which was based on the Naga, which is kind of the opposite, where the Western dragon is a dragon of intimidation. Eastern dragon or Southeast Asian dragon is one of inspiration. It's seen as almost a deity, one that's full of hope and life and harmony. And so to have a dragon that was so kind of full of life and was here to inspire people, and then you smash that up against like a comedic genius like Awkwafina, that those two things combined together is what really defined what this dragon needed to look like, what it needed to be like, and how we were going to interact with it. Because we don't want it to be like a beast. It had to be a full character that you would fall in love with, but also treat as a peer. And
you made them all pretty pastels for us, so thank you. Liked that. I was trying to think about the genre of this film because I was watching it and I'm like, is this a heist film? Is that what you were going for?
There are moments. I mean, the moment where little Noi and the Ongis break into Namari's room is kind of a heist.
And we fully embraced it. We were like, let's go Ocean's 11 on this.
Yeah, with a baby and some monkey.
Ocean 11 months. Hey, I also want to talk about the fact that this is the first sort of Disney animated film in a while where we haven't had a singing ensemble and big, powerful tunes behind it. What was the decision behind that one?
Well, I think early on, this movie was always going to be a big, epic action adventure fantasy film, and to kind of throw musical numbers or songs into the mix, I think it just would have imploded, and But I will say music was hugely important in terms of our score from James Newton Howard. In every level, by every metric, I mean, this is an incredible score. It's traditional on one hand, fully modern on another, and incorporates so many instrumentations from the regions of Southeast Asia. So it's really kind of a miracle score. And even though, it's not a musical, a lot of the scenes almost feel musical in terms of, because there'll be, not a lot of dialogue in some of the fight scenes. And so they almost become almost like songs in a way without people singing them.
I will say that at some point in the process of development, we were considering giving Sisu like a spoken word element to her, that she wasn't going to quite break into poetry, but there was an intro that we were going to ask Awkwafina to do a little bit of rhyming, and then we quickly realized that was not the right thing to do. So we kept it as a straight drama.
We've been talking about the perfect pairs that have existed in Disney movies, especially with the sidekick. So I want to ask all of you, out of all the sidekicks that we've seen throughout the decades in movies, I'm talking Olaf, Mushy, I'm talking, Apu, Scuttle, who's your favorite sidekick to date?
The first thing that came to my mind, and it's an oldie but a goodie, but is the carpet from Aladdin. I love that. I love nonverbal characters because that's such animation heaven, and our animators get to do so much great work. And so that carpet was totally amazing to me, and still holds up to this day.
Yeah, I'm going to stick into Aladdin, but I'm going to move it over to the genie, because I just love like those iconic, when the perfect character meets the perfect actor, much like Sisu to Awkwafina. It's just a memorable character that will be stuck in our imaginations forever. So the genie is definitely my top.
My favorite Disney sidekick pair is Don Hall and I, because we are magical and charming beyond belief.
It may feel impossible, but sometimes you just have to take the first step. I just shape change.
Dragons can do that?
Look how close my butt is to my head.